Raise a Glass. Art Toast is back. I'm here with Thomas Ferrella and Aaron Granat. Welcome, Zoom viewers.
Cheers. I already started.
I'm Margaret LeMay, founder and owner of Integrated Art Group and Marzen Gallery. Integrated Art Group is a creative solutions company and art consulting firm. We serve corporate and healthcare clients nationally, and Marzen is the showroom of Integrated Art Group, and it's also our gallery, and it connects us to the community. We provide spaces for exhibitions, for local and regional artists, and art portfolio viewing for designers and clients. On view now is The Illusion of Permanence by Thomas Ferrella, and please join us for the closing reception on May 6th during gallery night. A bit of housekeeping on Zoom. We want this to be as interactive as possible, so go ahead and put any questions or comments in the chat, and Augusta is at Marzen. We'll actually be transitioning there in a little bit so you can see the exhibition on view. But go ahead and put your questions in the chat, raise your hand if you have questions. We'll see if we can field them while we're going through all the wonderful artwork here. I'm here with Thomas Ferrella. So thank you so much for inviting us into your lovely home. And I'm going to give a little bit of background about you because we're going to be looking at a lot of this artwork that I'm going to talk about here. So Thomas Ferrella is a former emergency medicine physician who worked for 30 years as a trauma specialist. He is an accomplished self-taught artist and has received multiple Wisconsin grants for his public installations, and he uses his work to comment and respond to social and environmental causes. His photographic work documenting Chicago murder sites titled Not Forgotten, Chicago Street Memorials was shown at the Gage Gallery in Chicago and was endorsed by Time as a You Can't Miss photographic show for 2016. His exhibitions include a solo show in Camagüey, Cuba, titled One Mundo. His body of work deconstructs the boundaries of sex, race, and age, and explores a vision of a unified world.
Keep going. Keep going.
Thomas also participated in a portal discussion in Milwaukee with genocide survivors in Kigali, Rwanda, as part of Carl Wilkins' fellowship titled #Together We Remember, using images from his outdoor installation, Black Hawk Yahara, A River of Tears, that references Native American genocide that occurred in this country. Recently, his 25-year project documenting roadside memorials in Wisconsin, titled Not Forgotten, Wisconsin Roadside Memorials, has been showcased on NBC, Wisconsin Public Radio,
You're making me tired.
Wisconsin Peoples and Places magazine, and is also being cataloged by the Wisconsin Historical Society, along with his most recent series, Shit Fuck, which explores the effects of the pandemic on society.
All right.
And ultimately, Thomas creates objects of beauty, and as you'll see in The Illusion of Permanence and throughout his home here, because his home is not only an art gallery, but it's a studio as well. So thank you, Thomas, for inviting us in, and we're thrilled to be here with Art Toast. And let's dive in. I mean, there's a lot to see and talk about here. So cheers.
Are we changing the name?
Did I say something wrong? Illusion of Permanence?
No, Art Toasted.
Oh, Art Toasted? That's afterwards.
Toasted. All right, let's talk about.
So let's dive in, and I am really curious to find out about your influences. I see some really incredible pieces here made out of a lot of handmade paper. Tell me about some of this work.
This is, I think, where most of my influence comes from is my mom and the natural world. So I wanted to showcase the work that she has done, some things that we have done together. She just passed in November, 96 years, and was a crazy, strong-willed, I call her the OG, the original gangster. And somewhere in her life, I mean, something clicked, and which is similar to me. And she just delved into this work, completely untrained, just building and creating from a deep sense of having to do it, like no reason, rationale, underlying ego.
And that seems to be your path as well, this transition from being a medical doctor, a physician, self-taught, right? You haven't had any formal training as an artist.
Right. That's true, but the ego part is not. I'm seriously wrapped up into my work that way. But she wasn't. No intention to sell, to show, just to enjoy the beauty. I mean, she would, but she wasn't wrapped up into that side of it.
Sure.
Yeah. But she's amazing, man. Look, she's done over 200 of these. It's called Analogous.
And these are sculptures made out of just
cardboard and dyed strips
thread,
of t-shirts, thread, and then embellished. She would make books. This one, the oil spill, the Exxon Valdez, hand making the paper and then embellishing it. And it's all about oil. And each one of these images have sort of this haunting, three-dimensional, political, contemporary, artistic take on that horrible environmental disaster. Thinking of the world. She's 96 years old. She made art out of anything and everything, and it piled up in our home. And it was just this fantastical place.
And you've done some collaborations together too. This book here.
So I've done a collaboration with this body of work with her. Her and I did this book. I wrote the story, and she did the collage works. And it's all about my son and how he discovers an instrument where a society didn't have music, and he brought it back to the community. So
I just got chills.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Zach, who's my son, and the mysterious noisemaker. So
nice.
Yeah.
And this little gem.
I know, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. She made a tiny little book and then embellished it with just single words. And they're all sort of poignant, poetic, individual words. It's not meant to be read sequentially. She's an amazing folk artist, untrained, never graduated from high school, grew up rurally poor. And like me, somewhere in there, like our 50s, it just like
it's clicked.
You know,
I'm hoping that happens for me.
Yeah, what a blessing. What a blessing, right?
Yeah.
To have another passion of this level in your life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know we met serendipitously about 1.5 years ago, I think it only was. And when I first came into your home, I was really taken by just the aesthetic, like, oh my gosh, somebody gets it. There's real artwork here. It's framed well. It's displayed beautifully. And I come to find out that 90% of it is things that you've created.
Yeah.
It's, you know, but as we walk our way around through these rooms, you'll see just the variety and the depths. I mean, we've got.
What was your mother's name?
Carolina.
Yeah, got a photo here.
Yeah.
And so just the variety, everything from carved feathers with, I don't know, are those quills or are they quills and hairs?
Yeah, from a porcupine that I found up north, and then I harvested.
Okay.
And then
Harvested.
I harvested the quills and I buried him. He was roadkill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then above that is photography.
Yeah, from the mandala series.
And with your photographs, as we'll see when we make our way up into your studio in the attic, really takes on this amazing painterly quality as well.
Oh,
And going into some of the dimensional objects here.
It's coughing, right?
It's
It's coughing.
coughing. It's coughing.
so I made this and then I did a trip to Cuba on a medical thing that's run by a pal of mine here in town. Sister City, Madison, Camagüey. And I thought this would just be gorgeous to bring down there and get these guys, just get the reaction from it. And so I showed it to a lot of physicians and their anti-smoking campaign is huge down there because of Castro. And they wouldn't take a cigarette from me. And when I showed them, which is obviously horrible lung cancer, then the cough.
Yeah. And then there's a flip book here, right? And get a good angle on that. This tongue and wink.
Let's do it
is that
again.
what it is?
Wink and tongue.
Wink and tongue.
You have enough light?
Yeah. Tongue out.
To again, I see a bird, a felted bird in a
Right.
nest
Of my hair.
of your hair.
Another cigar box.
A nest of I thought these were nails, but they're actually quills from a
Canadian cherry.
okay, Canadian cherry.
Those are pretty amazing, right? The
Yeah.
sharpness, the intensity of these
Oh
things.
yeah.
And then this is another project I do with my mom from the Analogous series that we saw on the dining table. And it's called Marius and Reiner, which are two moon craters. And they're obviously Marius and Reiner, the moon mates. So these series of boxes were from a cigar show I helped put together, a cigar box show I helped put together at the tasting room in Monona, and let people pick up boxes, curated people into the show, and it was
Nice.
held at the tasting room, which is a humidor over in Monona,
Yes.
which is, by the way, the best humidor in the Midwest.
All right.
Just
Great,
saying,
great
just
plug for them.
Did we get paid from them? Do we know if that's coming?
Not
through?
yet, but I'm sure we should make a visit.
Photograph.
Photograph, again, abstracted, figurative work. I'm seeing a lot of dried plants throughout your home as well. There's a little bit in every room, and that seems to come into your work quite frequently as well.
Plus, they're sculpturally just beautiful, right?
Yes.
This was a poetry piece I did with Donna Carnes. This is a piece of my mom's, which is just phenomenal. Two found photographs that she slightly highlighted and then embellished with thread, some hand sewn, some machine sewn, and then this pseudo Sanskrit writing in the background. This is a woman from rural West Virginia, and the connectedness of that, multicultural, right?
I love that.
Three-dimensional.
And the more I look at it, the more I see, I've seen this piece before, but to see that thread work that goes all around the portraits now, and the actual buttons that are sewn in, and
her path to art is my path. And that's what I keep recognizing when I see her work. Because we'll see works with literally tar from the streets, thread, hog's intestines, lots of sewing, experimentation,
bodily fluids, I heard.
We're
There's
coming through.
coming through that way.
All right. Do you know how many people come in my house, they see this portrait, and they don't say a word about it? They walk right by it. When you came in, you're like, what the fuck? Right? Yeah, nobody sees that as it's like, are you gotta be kidding me? You don't see that
Yeah,
this white guy has been shot with bullets.
I definitely remember being very impressed by it.
Mounted on a background of red. Yeah. This is from the Eclipse of Reason. It's a body of work that talks about stereotypes and how we deal with our differences, frequently through violence. And in this country, violence is gun violence, right? A lot of it. So I photographed a huge number, 10, 12 people with these stereotypes. So
did they all go through the shooting range? And who is the shooter?
Well, a pal, and I don't have any guns, and
Okay.
I don't really, that's not my thing.
Okay.
I'm impressed by them to the point of being just
I shot a gun once
scary
and actually hit the target, but
What was the target? Was it-
no, it was a can on a log. And
wow. How far away were you?
I don't know. It was
100 feet.
It was a team building activity with a company I was with. And then too, I mean, I'm looking at these
Beautiful babies.
beautiful babies,
Beautiful babies.
but these
These
little
random babies.
lake balls, which I was wondering what they were, but so they're weeds, lake balls, right? Out of Lake Michigan. And you cleaned them up a little bit, dyed them,
Trimmed them, dyed them, and put them in some freshwater clam shells. Don't ask why.
okay. I would love to know why. Maybe you'll share. And along the lines of preservation, this appears to be a horse skull lit up, encased in plexi. You know, there are a few of these around the house. What's your inspiration for that? Or
Putting bones in boxes.
yeah, I mean, a lot of your
know.
work is environmental. There's
the deer. The one I did with the deer was definitely that was a commentary on the the land management thing and the overpopulation of deer and the impact on the environment. The horse is just
was a cool skull.
it's just fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
So, and the way it illuminated, it's alien.
Yes.
It's really alien.
It really is. I really want to comment on this piece here. We did the previous show at the gallery from here on out celebrated Black Lives. And you had a black flag included in that show. And this one is made of Chinese money.
Right. What does that mean?
Well, interestingly enough, we have an intern from China working with us this semester. And when this was hanging in the gallery, he was really fascinated by it and, you know, made it very clear how illegal that was and that you would be imprisoned and fined as well as anybody that may own it. So,
yeah. Well, I was wondering, Interpol, I got this weird email from the Nigerian Interpol.
right. So,
the lint balls, right?
So there's a collection of lint balls, which
finely crafted, I might add.
Finely crafted, which are gifts, from what I understand.
No, this is what I give out for Halloween.
So they're gifts.
Well, yeah, that's right. It's the. I'd like to think of it as the treat.
The treat,
no,
right?
Actually,
the
it's
trick
the
or
trick.
treat.
It's actually the trick.
It's like that lump of coal.
And then I give them money.
Oh.
All right.
Switch to the next segment.
All right.
Okay. So
we're going to head downstairs. And that's where I do, as you'll see, framing and collage and whatnot. But in the meantime, we're gonna pan to Shadowlands, which is an experimental film done by Mr. Granat, who's holding the camera, and myself and the band, You of All People, which was presented at Garver Feed Mill. So stay tuned. This segment of the show is presented by, we have a sponsor?
Do we have a sponsor?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Guinness.
Marzen? Guinness, okay.
Yes.
Cheers.
Guinness. Laundry room.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're in the laundry room.
Part 2.
So we're in Thomas's basement, which also is former dark room, but
Right.
framing, and we'll look at some works that he has in process here. These are some of the portraits.
Move over here. And I'll just...
Yep. Well, tell us about these portraits, Thomas.
Let's start with this one. Gives you an idea of kind of where I started with these. And I photographed about 60 people behind different types of glass, just thinking it was an interesting thing and sort of beautiful, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know where it was going. But because of these portraits, I've done a bunch of things from there later, kind of seeing what they had the capacity to do. One is that quilt, and then something like this. So I just thought I wanted to show something.
And the show that also went to Cuba too, weren't some of these
Right.
portraits from that? And we'll see some of those chandeliers up in the attic as well.
Yeah, I've shown that a bunch of
Video.
different times, but every time it's shown, it's something a little bit different.
Mhm.
And kind of like the fifth thing out of that is going to be at American Players Theater this
Coming up.
summer.
Wonderful.
If I can pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be up
No doubt.
till October. So a lot of cool things, and we'll see a bunch of things that have come out of this when we head in other parts of the house.
And this piece here, the Memorial Project, which
Yeah.
has been going on over 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah. Started after an incident that happened with a patient in 1991. That happened, right in our neighborhood. And I started recognizing, I started seeing these things in our community in general more often. And I thought there was something beautiful about them. But that particular incident was the stimulus to the whole project.
Yeah.
And
there's-
immediately I recognized kind of the beauty of these sites and the fact that they were new on the Wisconsin landscape. And I thought, you know what, when I retire, that's going to be one of my projects. But I couldn't wait, and I started, quite a bit before that. But the imagery is, well, it's haunting, for example, that particular image.
Yes.
Tragic, obviously. And the project talks about how we're dealing with grief in this country. Talks about how, this is the Tony Robinson. Yeah.
And you're
really poignant politically, right?
started out as a photographer too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really the beginnings of your creativity and art interest. And again, the documentation, the books, it all carries through and ties together a lot of the work.
My son took that image. Isn't that great?
Yes.
Wisconsin sandbar. All right, come. Look, I hoard newspapers.
Are you hoarding, Thomas,
I'm
now?
hoarding newspapers. That is because of the COVID, the Corona Chronicles, but like kind of other things, it is branched off into the Shit Fuck series, which I'll talk about. But I set some things out. Corona Chronicles was sort of an idea between myself and my daughter of doing something with the headlines in a poetic sort and documentary sort of fashion. And she gave me the idea of superimposing them on photographs, which I have a lengthy, extensive catalog on. And I love playing with words, but I don't know how to do that. That's kind of a new thing that I'm thinking on, working on, doing. And the first one was this one here, the blue chairs. This is a photo from the top of the Whitney, just shot down to a patio. And it says virus killer, March 29th, 2020. Attacks, outbreak, threat, pandemic, your future, empty. I noticed the headlines changing really quickly, right? With words, most people had no idea what they meant. Epidemic, pandemic, mRNA, and these are headlines.
Yes.
So I noticed that abrupt change, and I kind of thought there was something there. So I've done 70 of these, a little over 70, and they're prime, prime for making a book out of, documenting this time. And the nice thing is they're being collected by the Wisconsin Historical Society and the UW-Madison archives. Plus I'm doing an oral history with them all about COVID. This one, the future, right? Two simple words, the tenuous bubble in the sky.
About to burst.
Yeah, which is true,
Yeah.
is true at any time, any times, right?
Yeah.
But it's really apropos the way people are thinking now in particular.
And then Shit Fuck, which we'll actually see up in the attic,
Just like saying that.
is
In progress.
started out, from what I understand, these are your paint palettes.
Yes. And for whatever reason, they're plexiglass or glass, just because I have that stuff laying around. And I noticed how cool they look on the underside, right? This is the underside, and that's what I make the piece out of. We'll see up in the attic. And again, Shit Fuck stemmed from COVID. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought there was a lot more things to comment on. And I know this looks like really neat and laid out perfectly, but that's how I work. I got to tell it. So it looks like I did this on purpose. No, this is what I do. This is how I think. So I cut things out that are apropos. And these are the topics I want to talk about. Climate and social media, insurrection, religion, race, money, the 1%ers, war, violence, just what's women's rights. These will be topics that will be other fucks.
Yeah.
In that series. So, practicing with vinyl lettering, I've done spray paint, stenciling, and trying to figure out what's the best way to show that. But that came from the newspapers too.
Sure.
So,
yeah. All the headlines and continuing those collages. Yeah. And I see another series of flags here. This time white and black. I was curious, why black?
Here we go. I just cut this out today. A dream that died in debt.
Which is the American dream,
right? U.S. death toll hits 900,000. Shadow of war. Fear. That's why it's red, white, and black.
Yes.
So those are real flags. And you and I are going to do a little.
Do a little
It's
do-si-do.
it's a commentary on capitalism. It's the black, the red, the blood, the black, the death, the deceit, the deception, the lies. That's kind of what it was. I did it for a show, Mother Fools, did a political show. And so those are, obviously flags, 3-dimensional. And I painted the barcode for obvious reasons. But the number down there is the number to the White House. So
take note.
Give them a call. Which I have. And they say, hello, it's the White House. Careful if you make that call. All right, books.
You are on their radar, no doubt.
Books, more poetry, working with poets. Sarah Perel helped me with that project. That was held in the Green Cabs. It was a combination of my photography and other poets. Placed in cabs so people could read, get off their phones, think about art and poetry, and hopefully change a moment. This book came out of Borderlands, which was a project I did with my photography and Braille. This was done with, again, Sarah Perel and the Lake Effect Poets. And
which I think will be on display soon at one of our nearby Dane County buildings.
Yes. And then this is the prototype for the Cuba show. And I built this web over like 80 photographs, different colored skin, different color hair, different ages, races. Again, one world, sort of breaking down those barriers and trying to think of us as being more the same. My son, and this piece was 24 feet long.
Wow.
And my son blends into a buddy of mine, Jesse, who we saw with the scratch large portrait. They blend and it ping pongs back and forth, and you can't quite tell, you know what? We're kind of all the same, right? So, and I think the original one was actually 6 photos. Let's get into some Charles Bukowski.
All right.
Okay, the way to create art is to burn and destroy ordinary concepts and to substitute them with the new truths that run down from the top of the head and out from the heart.
And there you go.
Charles. Okay, yes, Carl Wilkins, really cool project, man, about genocide in Rwanda. I was invited to participate to show a little bit of an artist interpretation of what's happening here. So the River of Tears was a piece I did down here by the river based on what happened to Chief Blackhawk and the genocide and the wars that occurred because of that. That happened right here in my neighborhood.
And what's suspended from the trees there?
Red dyed sandbar willow.
Okay.
It's like 1,000 of them. That took some work.
I bet.
And I had a ton of help on that. This is from Eclipse of Reason, the stereotypical images we were talking about, and then shot. And sometimes we would shoot them outside. The Wisconsin Roadside Memorial Project. A lot of these are murders. A lot of these are senseless violence and overdoses.
and you actually went down to Chicago and documented murders there as well. Yes.
Yeah. That was the Gage show.
Okay.
So, but anyways, in the Cuba show, again, Uno Mundo, about
and
blending race.
Yeah, so
there's that image. How many were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So the Carl Wilkins set up these pods of communication between cities in our country and Kigali and Rwanda, and they had genocide survivors there telling us their story. And I got invited to be at one of these pods because of this body of work demonstrating, getting along and who's causing the political issues and senseless deaths and how we in genocide.
Our history.
And I kind of think they were a little surprised because they don't think of America that way. They don't see us that way.
Sure.
And it was just a way to share each other's traumas. And of course, their traumas were just unbelievable thing that happened
and still happening
in our lifetime.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Still
So,
happening.
What a cool project, connecting people.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this shrine to Bucky, I don't know.
Here, let me kill some lights.
Yeah.
That's a collaboration between.
Oh, maybe a little too killed.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
A little more.
Yeah.
This is a collaboration between Kevin Schaefer and I, and we're going back and forth with pieces. I kind of like it dark. I give him a piece, he does something to it, he gives it back to me, and then we keep moving it back and forth.
And that one's a work in progress.
And
still?
Kevin, I need a piece, man.
Is that a work in progress?
It's really close to being done.
Okay.
I'll give it back to him. I don't think I have anything more to say on it. We're going to see another one upstairs that actually is done.
Yeah, we should head upstairs right now.
Super fun.
So now we're going to segue to Augusta, and she will walk you through the illusion of permanence that's on display now at Marzen. Come down and see the show. Welcome you all, and we're going to head up to the attic and see where all the magic happens.
For joining. I'm going to switch over to my portable camera and give you a preview of the illusion of permanence. So stay tuned. I'll be back in 1 second. We're here at Marzen / Integrated Art Group. Marzen is the fine art showroom of integrated art, and it also happens to be our office. And we have this monumental piece of Thomas's in our entryway, along with a lovely Luna moth. So the illusion of permanence is a combination of sculptural works that Thomas has created recently and his insect series. And something delightful about this show is that many of the pieces are kinetic. So you can actually interact with them. And this is one of the pieces from the insect series. So it's insects, literally insects. Nice play on words there, Thomas. And we're located at 2345 Atwood Avenue in Madison. You can stop by anytime to visit us 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. It's our office, but we're always happy to chat about art. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's a repurposed globe that Thomas has just exquisitely painted. And we have a magnifying glass here, because you really need it to see these incredible details. And here's another Bucky. These pieces are created out of burnt wood. And then they're painted with oil paint. And many of the works are still available for sale. These pieces are available. We have sold quite a few. So be sure to stop by and check it out before they all sell out. This show will be on view through May 6th, and we're having a closing reception on gallery night. That's Friday, May 6th. And hopefully you can see this, but Thomas uses a lot of really interesting elements in his work. Like this gear gives this piece a kinetic element. This is a sweet insects piece. We've got our ladybugs. And I have my associate Tess here, and she's going to talk about one of her favorite pieces. It's actually the newest one in the Illusion of Permanence collection. Thomas dropped this off about a week ago. So yeah, Tess, do you want to share why this is your favorite piece?
Well, originally there was another piece that was my favorite, but when this one arrived, it immediately spoke to me. And some of it is a bit personal, just that I've often thought about what my spirit animal guide would be, and I thought, well, maybe an owl. And then I hadn't thought about it about 25 years. And then I thought about it a week before this showed up. So when this showed up, it seemed to make a connection to me in that way. Also, I really love the fiery, celestial, whatever, asteroid, comet flying through the sky. And I've recently become interested in ancient cultures. And there's now an accepted theory that there was a global cataclysm about like 11,000 years ago that ended the Ice Age. And a lot of our global religious stories have stories about this catastrophic event, or what we think is possibly this catastrophic event. And so to me, this is really, this piece exemplifies the cycle of life and how we're connected to the cosmos, and we never know what could hit the planet. It could happen again.
Thanks, Tess. That was really well said, and it speaks to the themes of Thomas's work. He talks about this theme of samsara, or the circle of life. So you'll see these really beautiful scenes, but there's also death. We have a predator, and an animal hiding. It's life and death represented. It's beautiful, but it's also complex as well. So I'm going to check in with Margaret and Thomas now here, but definitely come by 2345 Atwood Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin. We still have several pieces available for sale. Some have been sold, so it's your last chance to check them out. And check our website, integratedartllc.com, for upcoming events, and to view all these works online as well.
Collins, that's it. All right, more wood from Illusion of Permanence. kind of in the process, but I like these plain. So I've been thinking they might stay just like this, as sculptural too, just that. Otherwise, here's another one that I burned and got the idea for this part of the painting, and I'm going to start that sometime. But that's one of my palettes. And then now I'm starting to work them more in the process. So scraping down, you see where I scraped down there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just create that
Working
depth.
that in for sure.
So,
And again, a lot of found objects,
skulls in boxes.
skulls and boxes,
You
deer
see,
skulls.
You see how I move those?
Yeah, I do.
Really much better like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And even oriented correctly, head above pelvis.
Yeah. And this was the first shit fuck series with the headlines from the pandemic coming through.
Yeah.
Dark days, no end in sight. Little did we know, back when
Everything's
things were
closed.
emerging.
Shit. Fuck. Yeah. And here you can see actually the headlights pop out a little bit better when it's off. Shit fuck works whether there's light or no light.
Yeah,
Just
light
saying,
or dark.
Just saying. Shit fuck. Hey, sponsored by Shit fuck.
Or Corona Light.
Oh, Corona Light. Yes, these are one of my big sponsors.
And these are actually Corona cans that you wrapped around to make the frame.
Yeah, cladding that, and I am collecting crushed cans. If people want to pick them up for me, just throw them on my doorstep.
All right.
There's something there.
Public service
Anyway,
announcement.
there you go.
Throw
And
your
you're doing a good deed.
crushed cans up on
Or
Thomas's porch.
Or go crush cans for me.
I want to point out this photograph as well. Again, very painterly quality. And it's reflections of buildings in the water, right?
I'm not telling. Milwaukee River. Yeah. Some old warehouse.
Milwaukee River.
Yeah, I love that.
So when we do
I love that about photography.
Yes.
Right? The abstract. The isolating.
I also wanted to point out a series that I think is in the works still, Mythos Americanos.
Oh yeah.
We've got the Hodag there.
Yeah. That's the first one. Everybody knows the Hodag story, right? 1893. Some guys made it up and it became famous.
I think
It's a great American legend.
everyone is familiar with the Hodag.
Well, the Mythos Americanus will hopefully kind of showcase those things in our culture that they're just extremely local mythological creatures with kind of weird folk stories that go along with them. So the other one is a troll.
A troll. And when Aaron makes his way over, we'll
It's troll time.
troll time.
All right, check this out. We have our average troll, and he morphs into a Zeus. And I'm working on the mechanism of that.
And what are these signs here, Thomas? Are these?
Hey, look what I got today. Don't you want that bumper sticker? That would be a killer bumper sticker. I'm collecting these because I know there's something really good about them. I have a bunch in the basement still, but it's a commentary on us, right? It's not a commentary on them.
Yes.
It's a commentary on us, our social ills related to, race, how we take care of our
Mental health.
drug addiction,
How we don't take care,
poverty,
you mean.
how we don't take care, poverty,
Yeah.
etc. And
Yeah.
this is the voice. So I have a thing. Originally I wanted to do this at the Democratic National Convention, which never happened. But it was going to be a room filled with these signs. That's all you could see are these signs, floor to ceiling, and including the ceiling. You enter the room and you're now hearing their stories. So I'm doing an auditory recording on those.
Well, and that'll come back around, or there may be some opportunities.
I gotta have somebody that believes in the idea, right?
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Hey, show them the lake outside one of the skylights.
And do we have any questions, Augusta? I don't know if I can unmic and see any questions, or I can ask Thomas a few more questions.
Says it's cutting out.
Hello. You want to read from my missal that I was when I was a kid? Look at all my holy cards that I collected. You guys were big on holy cards, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. The Polish have some amazing religious iconography. I like this one from the 70s, right, or 60s. Kumbaya.
Oh, yeah. Always with the children.
Is that is not a Norman Rockwell.
Thomas, what would you like to see going on in the Madison art scene?
Oh, wow.
I mean,
how much more time do we have?
You are
how much more time do we have?
An eclectic artist that, just touring your house. We spend a day here, right? I've talked to many artists about their frustration of where do we display works? Who's portrait now? Who's like artwork? I mean, okay, it's in pre-pandemic.
It's not that.
There are.
I think it's going on everywhere. I think we're stupid
as a collective.
Okay, that's it. Is that a cut?
That's it. That's your artist statement. I make no excuses.
So I'm wondering, where's the subversive kid culture? When we were 20, running
They're
around,
at home on their computers.
The question. John asks, artist Thomas, could you have created this fine art collection at age 20?
No.
Repeat the question.
Could you have created this art collection at age 20?
No, my head was not there by any means. Like when I was talking about my mom kind of being creative, which I was too, but somewhere in her 60s and me in my 50s, I realized this is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And it was not a flip of the switch, but it was becoming more and more obvious every day what I was thinking about, where my head was, how I was processing the world, and trying to figure out how to say that.
Sure.
So John's follow-up question is, what about when you were 40?
What about when I was 40? No, No.
Still not.
Next question. 60.
Were
Yes.
you creating art as an ER physician along with your mom, or did this occur after you left medicine?
No, during medicine.
Reiterate the question.
Did you create art while you were an ER physician? That's about as far as
With my mom. Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, and again,
And
photography. You mentioned you were
right.
doing photography in your college
Right.
years, although just
Yes.
having
Oh,
a dark room and photographing. Yeah.
no, always doing photography on some level. I've always had a dark room, but somewhere in there position, and I knew I was my head was somewhere else. I was waking up thinking other things besides medicine.
Sure.
Right. So
Hey, so what inspired you to use soda cans in your art?
Art or beer cans.
mainly beer cans. But I was in Mexico and I was doing a lot of little painting on the beach there. And I noticed these things, which they call
The tin art, right?
well, it's Mexican tin art,
Right.
but these things are littered on their landscape and they're beat to shit. And they call them Mexican road flares because they reflect it at night.
Okay.
And I just went and I started picking them up and I painted one, and the guy was running the bar and wanted it, and I just gave it to him.
Sure.
And it was cool. It was like, wow, a little pop art
Yeah.
thing. And of course it probably has other implications besides that. And I just thought bigger might be kind of cool. So that's what that painting came from.
Yeah. So thank you.
Wait.
Wrap
We got a lot.
is that fast?
No. We got a lot more to talk about. We're just starting.
We do. And
Yeah.
I just want to be conscientious of everybody's time.
Tell 'em to
Thomas
hang
and
up.
I will
Tell 'em to hang
continue
up.
the conversation. For anybody that wants to stay on, thank you so much for, I think we're going to stay up here and make it art toasted momentarily, but please join us if you will.
I'm already
And
toasted.
we'll continue to talk art.
Oh,
Cheers.
Okay. One last question.
One last question.
You touched on this a bit, but what is the main thing you hope people take away from your art?
What is the main thing you
Ah.
hope people take away from your art?
So I've been asked that, and I stumbled with my answer. And
You just want people.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's that. Everything you've seen is for sale, including the house. No, I've been asked that, and I stumbled, and then it comes down to a sense of awe, right?
Yeah.
So transforming their thought process for whatever amount of time is irrelevant. Of course, you want it to resonate with somebody for a long period of time, right? They want to live with the piece
Sure.
because they get that sense of awe from it. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that can change a moment. With my single word poetry pieces that I do, we didn't talk about those, with my doormat that says pretend. And hopefully you're changing somebody's thought process just enough to give them the inner dialogue of whatever the commentary is, whether it's poetic or, more peaceful.
Creating awareness. And as I work with the work I've done for the last 25, 30 years is putting art into hospitals, across the country, and to have local artists involved in that, and to, again, create art that goes just beyond a pretty picture, that gives people something to engage with, something to be inspired by, something to get their mind off of why they're in that hospital. And again, that creation and giving people something to think about and ponder and yeah.
But I want to come back to the stupid comment I made. That was a little harsh, but it comes from a conversation last night with some people about what's happening to subversive Madison, which is kind of disappearing in front of our eyes, how that's becoming branded in our city. So we're losing our edge. So what do I want to see in the Madison scene? I want to see people be able to express their opinions and flourish in eclectic, weird, crazy sort of ways. And we're not seeing anybody really interested in that.
Mentioned your mother as an influence. Is that the whole why create? Why art? It does extend into music, you know, Blue Stem Jazz bringing international acts here to Madison. Earth Boys and You of All People performances. In various
need for expression. I can't honestly say why I might have it and you, whoever doesn't.
Well, and that's so interesting because I am a trained artist, right? I actually love to draw, at least I did when I was younger, but I almost feel like I have a block now. Like my why, I don't know. So yeah, so I'm really curious about that.
I think it's evolutionary, and some of it can probably be taught, and it depends on how you look at the world. But there's an inner itch to express. No doubt you want to be a part of that beauty. You see it now, you want to express it, and there's that inner need to do that, and it's a itch. It's that deep down, and you got to scratch it. So,
and you have a natural talent for it.
Oh, God bless and save you. Thank you.
I need a little more than God for that.
Yeah, it's it's crazy what we just saw, and of course there's more. It's so varied, and I don't really, and I think a lot of great art comes out of being hyper focused. Mm-hmm. And then what is it really becoming? Is it formulaic, high craft? And so that's a discussion for people to argue about or not. But
sure.
But I don't see myself that way at all. Like, yeah, if something stumbles and I decide to do this with needle and thread for the rest of my life, then it does. It's just an evolutionary thing. Let it flow and let it happen. But I am processing and thinking of so many things and the applications and what that can say that that I can't help but delve into something. And hence making films with Aaron. Like, what the hell do I know about making films? Nothing. But for 30 years, I've been capturing videos of usually the natural world in 10-minute segments. And I have hours and hours and hours of these things. And I knew they were interesting. I didn't know what their application was, but I knew they were beautiful.
So a collaboration with Aaron, what
like,
we saw earlier.
Boom.
Right?
Next thing you know, we're doing a film in a planetarium. Who does experimental film that's being created in real time with an improvisational band in a planetarium in your humble little Midwest Madison, Wisconsin town?
Thomas Ferrella, that too.
And you of all people.
And you of all people.
I do not hesitate to stray into other worlds of art making. I mean, with some degree of trepidation and anxiety, but yeah, if I see something I want to create and make happen, then I kind of learn the skills to get there and hopefully pulling it off.
Yeah. Your first paintings, were you, I don't know, were you happy with them? Did it take a lot to get to a level of painting where you were comfortable?
I was so blown away at how well I thought I painted from the very get-go. I mean, that to me came very, very natural. Now remember, I don't have any filters when it comes to my art. I think everything I do is amazing. and hence the ego.
You're like
but-
the opposite of typical artists that are like their worst critics. Like,
well, I'm like a kid in a candy store, and the next bottle of goodies tastes better than the last bottle. And so I think these pieces are amazing. They really sit with me.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm giddy because nobody trained me, and it came out what I think is beautiful. But that's my personal interpretation of this work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so and I know I'm not always right, because in hindsight I look back at work and I go, oh man, that's stupid. That was really stupid. What were you? So,
but it's part of the creative process and the evolution, and it is out in exhibitions and people are purchasing it, and they're so
yes.
definitely valid.
Yeah. Valid. Thank you. That's what I meant to say.
Is there anything you dislike about your work?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just kind of tight, really tight.
And that's where some of that collaboration came from too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. My shit's in between the lines. Like, I'm not a trained artist. Am I a folk artist? I don't think so. I don't see it that way. I don't know what that definition of art is, but yes, I'm very categorical. And like I said downstairs, when I was all those files are lined up, I didn't do that for this. That's how, but I can see how weird that looks because it's really organized. So yeah,
Sure.
my shoes are lined up in general.
Yeah. I mean, your whole place. Yeah.
Right.
You can see that
Yes.
that is you.
Yes. Yeah. And hopefully to try to break that, I wanted to work with Kevin Schaefer, which is the round. Kevin's really good about paint and pasting feathers and bone, and so trying to get myself to loosen up by him. Oh, really? It started with Kevin doing this part up in here with these photo transfers. And then I did the sky and the satellite. And then I did the bee and then the great sky, right? Yeah, look at that, how it comes, right? It's the big eye. You're looking into a world, right? You're looking into a fantasy world. And I can't tell you exactly what's going on, but this is a piece you can stare at for trying to figure out what he's doing. What's he doing in that room? Why a pumpkin? Why a pumpkin? It's very surrealist, right? Which that's where I want Kevin to expand my brain a little bit.
I also wanted to show a few more money pieces. This is a chest of money, a chest of dollars, but there may be some foreign currency in here. That and the thread, COVID references. And Fed Reserve not, Fed Serve not. The states of Erica.
Oh.
Wait, what?
You see that?
When I fold
The states
them,
of Erica.
when I fold them, they give you a different, they give you different wording. And if I fold them in such a way, like this one says "oneer" on it. Get out of those. Give them
Wonder.
a bunch.
Give them a bunch.
There's George the Clown. Show him George the Clown. Here's a,
Where Batman going.
And this is a set that you will keep creating, right? This will go on.
yeah. Well, what I'd like to do, if it's sold, I would continue to add. Well, whether it sells or doesn't matter. I want to continue to add to it as I come up with other ideas.
Does the concept determine the process, or does the process inform the concept?
Man, somebody's really smart
ooh.
that's asking these
Dropping
questions.
the money now.
Oh my gosh. All right. Say it again.
Let's see. 1 second.
Sick COVID.
Oh yeah, another COVID.
Does the concept determine the process, or does the process inform the concept?
Yeah, the former. I see what it should be, and then I work backwards from there.
Isn't that beautiful?
And depending on the body of work is how far I want to explore it, if there's an outlet or not an outlet. I mean, one of the things about the illusion of permanence was Margaret offering me that show and gave me the opportunity to explore this burned wood thing, which I was already working on, but I didn't really know if I was going to keep going in that direction. But that all came from the same thing, seeing what it could be before I learned how to do it.
And I love that you use fire to sculpt the wood in some cases.
And the money.
Yeah.
Right? To work with fire, man, that's a blessing, right? That's a power of the earth that goes back to what? Ever. And you're utilizing that in your art. Yeah, and my hair.
and your hair.
Oh, I forgot to show them the bottle of human tea.
Oh, darn. Next time. Next art toast. Part 2.
So one thing you'll see a technique that's repeated over and over and over again in slightly different permutations. And is that how you would also display this? Like, would you put them all out like in a row?
Is that your question?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Serialization. And why? That's good. And, well, I think it's the story. It's the story of that. Whatever that is, right? Whatever the commentary is. Yes. The signs, the homeless signs, the money, the ice photos.
The
I
icons.
like things in series.
Yeah.
Right? Gives you an opportunity to tell a bigger story. Maybe a bigger story.
Insects
right?
and sex and all of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a thread running through your work in a really interesting way. It shows up in so many different forms.
Yeah, look at the sewn portraits in One World, the series of those faces. Picture that bigger and more faces, you know what I mean? Like really taking that to another level. Something good there. Well,
it was great visiting with you.
Is there
tonight.
anybody still listening?
Yes, there is. Megan seems to be a very attentive listener. And we have, how many other people? 8 other people that are hanging with us.
I say we go until they're fed up with us, right?
Yeah, I think we should wear out our welcome.
Wear out our welcome. That's on my doormat.
I don't know. I don't want to wear out my staff though. You know, it's been a long day.
Well, tell Augusta to just come over and have a drink with us.
Yeah, come on over, Augusta. Yeah, and I do. Yeah, I want to thank Aaron Granat for filming this and being such an integral part of this. Thomas Ferrella, thank you so much for bringing us into your home and your studio and your mind to get a little bit of a glimpse into what's behind all this artwork. And Yeah, here's a toast.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Our toast.
Cheers.